Imagine this. It's midnight. Your eyes are heavy. Your body is begging for sleep, but the walls are shaking with bass from your neighbor's room. You've got an exam at 8 a.m., and every second awake feels like torture. You knock, you beg, you plead, only to be laughed at as they turn the volume up even louder. That was me. And that laugh, that smirk, oh, it was the last straw. If you've ever been disrespected, underestimated, or pushed to your breaking point, smash that like button right now. Subscribe if you believe in justice served with a little creativity. Because what you're about to hear is one of the most satisfying dorm room revenge stories you'll ever come across. When I first moved into the dorms, I thought I'd lucked out. My neighbors seemed friendly, the common room always smelled like coffee and popcorn, and the walls, well, they looked thin, but I figured we'd all be respectful. Enter Sarah. Sarah wasn't evil. She wasn't a villain, but she was the kind of person who thought the world revolved around her playlist. Every night, just as the building finally went quiet, she'd crank up her music. We're not talking background noise. No, this was chest-thumping, wall-vibrating, ear-ringing music. At first, I tried to brush it off. It's college, I told myself. Everyone's adjusting. But then came the night before my first big midterm. I'd studied for weeks, my highlighters were worn down to stubs, and all I wanted was 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep. Instead, at 1 a.m., my bed shook with bass drops. I tossed, I turned, I put my pillow over my head. Nothing worked. My heart was pounding, not from nerves, but from pure rage. Finally, I got up, walked down the hall, and knocked on Sarah's door. She opened it, eyes glittering under her fairy lights, red solo cup in hand, music blasting so loud I could barely hear myself speak. I leaned in politely and said, "Hey, sorry to bother you. I've got a big exam in the morning. Would you mind turning it down just a little?" For a second, she looked at me with this blank expression. Then her lips curled into a smirk. "Sure," she said. And she reached for the volume knob. But instead of turning it down, she cranked it up. My jaw dropped. My blood boiled. I stood there frozen as she laughed and closed the door in my face. That was the moment something inside me snapped. I dragged myself back to my room, laid flat on my bed, staring at the ceiling as the music pounded through the wall. My fists clenched, my teeth ground together. All I could think was, she thinks she's untouchable. She thinks she can laugh at me, at all of us, and get away with it. But I knew one thing Sarah hated more than anything in the world: mornings. Sarah never emerged before noon. She treated early hours like poison. I'd overheard her countless times groaning about how she literally couldn't function before coffee. And that's when the idea hit me. The next morning, I survived my exam on sheer adrenaline. And when I came back, bleary-eyed but burning with determination, I began my plan. I dug out my portable Bluetooth speaker, a surprisingly loud one. Then I built a playlist. Not just any playlist. Oh no, this was carefully curated with the most obnoxiously cheerful bubblegum pop songs from the early 2000s. Think boy bands. Think sugary choruses. Think clapping beats that drilled straight into your skull. At exactly 6:30 a.m. the next morning, when the dorm was silent and still, I pressed play. I set the speaker against the wall we shared, and I cranked it. The first few notes of Bye 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 by NSYNC rattled through the plaster. At first, nothing. Then, her door slammed open. Sarah stumbled out, hair a bird's nest, mascara smudged under her eyes. "What is happening?" she screamed, hoarse. I poked my head out, smiling sweetly. Relax, it's college. The look on her face. Worth every lost hour of sleep. But I wasn't done. Day 2, 6:30 a.m., sharp. This time, it was Britney Spears. Then Hanson's Bop. Then the High School Musical soundtrack. Every morning, without fail, I was her alarm clock from hell. By day 3, she was practically crawling into the hallway begging me, "Please, I'm sorry, just stop. I can't do this." And I just shrugged. Relax, it's college. The phrase hit her like a slap. Because she knew. She knew she'd said the same thing when I begged for peace before my exam. Funny thing is, after that week, the music wars ended. No more midnight concerts, no more shaking walls. Sarah never admitted defeat. But the silence, oh, the silence, was golden. The final morning I played my playlist, she didn't even come out. She just stayed in bed, probably burying her head under 10 pillows. And when I walked to class in blissful quiet that night, for the first time in weeks, I realized I'd won. Justice didn't come from yelling, from fighting, or from reporting her. It came from turning her own words, her own arrogance, right back on her. It's funny, isn't it? People like Sarah think their fun is more important than everyone else's peace, but the second you hold up a mirror, the second they get a taste of their own medicine, they crumble. Sometimes karma doesn't need years. Sometimes it takes just 1 week and a perfectly timed playlist. If this story gave you even the tiniest spark of satisfaction, smash that like button. It helps more than you know. And tell me in the comments, what's the most creative revenge you've ever seen or pulled off yourself? Don't forget to subscribe for more stories that prove one thing. In the end, justice always finds its beat.